Hey guys, Ryan again with Leap Financial, and in this video I'm going to show you how to become a complete compounder to build more wealth and passive income. Just a refresher for those of you who might be hearing this for the first time, a complete compounder is somebody who structures their cash flow in such a way that they're able to earn compound interest on 100% of their income, even after paying their expenses. This differs from how the average person spends and saves money, because typically when the average person brings in income, they pay their expenses first and then saves whatever's left over, if any. But wealthy individuals and institutions buy assets with their income first, then borrow other people's money, or OPM, to cover their expenses. This allows them to always be compounding every dollar they ever make, even after they cover their expenses, hence becoming a complete compounder. For this to work, there are two very important factors. Number one, the asset that you are buying with your income must be liquid and accessible to borrow against simply and frequently. And number two, the asset must appreciate or grow in value at a higher rate on average than the cost to borrow against it. Otherwise, doing this would lose money rather than gain money over time. And when you find an asset that checks these boxes, the concept is pretty straightforward. Move your money into the asset to begin compounding, then borrow against the asset to cover expenses. There it is. You're done. Just kidding. It is simple, but let's seal the deal with an example. Wealthy Bob has an income of $100,000 and funnels his entire income into an investment property. Let's assume that this property grows in value at a rate of 7% per year. Wealthy Bob still has to pay his annual living expenses of $80,000, and he just dumped his entire income into this property. But this isn't Wealthy Bob's first rodeo. He knows that if he had paid his expenses before buying the property, he would only have $20,000 remaining to buy assets. So instead, Wealthy Bob purchased the asset up front that compounds all of his money at 7% per year. Then he went to the bank and borrowed $80,000 to pay his expenses, costing him 5% interest per year. After Wealthy Bob pays his expenses with other people's money, or OPM, he still has an asset worth $100,000 that is compounding at 7% minus the 5% interest cost on the money he borrowed. Average Bob, that earned the same $100,000, immediately paid his expenses and only had $20,000 remaining to save or invest because he didn't structure his cash flow as efficiently as Wealthy Bob. And no matter how much money Average Bob tries to save, he will never become a complete compounder without changing the structure of his cash flow. People like Wealthy Bob tend to stay wealthy because they're playing the same game as you, but with different rules that stack the odds of winning in their favor. When you take advantage of strategies like becoming a complete compounder, you can improve the efficiency of your cash flow to grow wealth and passive income more quickly, just like Wealthy Bob and many other wealthy individuals and institutions. Now, let's get to the burning question. How can you start? Well, the most important place to start is by using the right asset. Wealthy people use many different assets to buy and borrow against to compound their money, such as real estate, businesses, commodities, or insurance. But a lot of these options are very tedious and time-consuming for many people to get into without dedicating an entire career to it. So our preferred asset to use for both its ease of use and several more reasons is cash value life insurance, or more specifically, indexed universal life, or IUL. And there's three primary reasons why we recommend starting here. Number one, by placing your money into a properly structured IUL policy, a small portion of your money pays for a permanent death benefit, while the rest of your money sits in a type of account called cash value. And the IRS says that by purchasing some death benefit with every dollar in the policy, then the rest of the money that sits in the cash value can grow and be accessed tax-free for the rest of your life and be passed on tax-free to a beneficiary. So reason number one why we use an IUL is that all of your money can grow tax-free and blossom into a tax-free death benefit when you pass away. Number two, the cash value in your IUL is linked to the stock market but without market risk. Each year when the stock market goes up in value, you can earn a healthy amount of interest, but if the stock market goes down, you have a guarantee from the insurance company not to lose in the market. And historically with this type of strategy, your money would compound at around 7% on average. In addition, these life insurance companies that give you this guarantee against loss often are more than 100 years old and are some of the strongest financial institutions in the country. So reason number two we use an IUL is that it is very safe, protected from loss, and the returns are predictable. The third, and one of the most important reasons to use an IUL to become a complete compounder, is the accessibility of loans. Each life insurance company builds in guaranteed loan provisions to your contract that allow you to borrow their money, collateralized against your cash value, at any time with no approval required, which means that for the most part, your money is very liquid and easy to access. Not only that, but when you take a loan, you're actually borrowing the insurance company's money while your money is still growing inside of the account. So if your money earns an average of 7% historically, and the insurance company charges you 4 or 5% to borrow their money against your policy, then your money is still earning 2 to 3% on average more, even after you borrow to pay your expenses. So reason number 3 why we use an IUL is the ability to freely borrow against the account while your money continues to sit in the cash value, growing tax-free, protected from risk. Now, what is the effect for you over time of restructuring your cash flow to become a complete compounder? Well, some back-of-the-napkin math would tell us that average Bob, who makes $100,000 per year and spends $80,000, is only going to compound $20,000 per year. Over 25 years, he would have allocated a total of $500,000 to growing his wealth. And let's say that average Bob saved his leftover money into an IUL for retirement. He would have a projected $1.2 million or so earning interest for him and a projected tax-free income of nearly $87,000 per year. Not bad at all. But that is a pretty average result, and it could be much, much better because wealthy Bob, who makes the same $100,000 and spends the same $80,000, is a complete compounder who would have allocated $2.5 million towards growing his wealth his way, rather than just $500,000. And by using an IUL to become a complete compounder, wealthy Bob would have a projected $6.1 million earning interest for him and nearly $250,000 in tax-free passive income. That's 5 times as many dollars earning interest for him and 2.5 times the income by becoming a complete compounder. There is no difference in income, in savings, or abilities between wealthy Bob and average Bob. The only difference is what they chose to learn and do with their money before they spent it. The potential for you to create more wealth and passive income is within your reach, but it's up to you to take action. To see how you can get started with putting this strategy into action, reach out to Leap Financial or your representative for a complimentary consultation. Once again, I'm Ryan with Leap Financial, and I look forward to helping you on your journey to financial abundance.